Today's episode is brought to you by Positively Productive Systems, whose mission is to be the antidote to your stress and to provide compassionate productivity resources and coaching that help you heal and achieve. Be sure to check out both free and paid resources at positivelyproductive.com/resources. I discovered the power of decluttering within my own healing journey after caregiving. I realized that the best way to heal myself and my family was to clear a path in my life. And while doing so, I discovered how clutter affects us, how prevalent it is, and how it connects to all aspects of life, and how freeing it is when we release what doesn't serve. You're listening to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Zurawski, founder of Positively Productive Systems, and a productivity coach certified in positive psychology and stress management. Join me as we explore ways to live a more proactive, positive life with episodes on productivity, self-awareness, mindset, entrepreneurial life, habits and systems, simplicity, fun, and more. I understand overwhelm personally as a multi-passionate entrepreneur, wife and mom to kids and cats, and as a caregiver. I'm here to help you choose what's right for you so you can do less, live more, and breathe easier. Sound good? Let's get to it. Welcome to the Positively Living Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa, and decluttering is easily one of my favorite topics. While my roots as a professional organizer play a part, it actually goes further back than that and is the reason I became an organizer. I discovered the power of decluttering within my own healing journey after caregiving. I share this story of caregiving and clutter in detail in episode 34. But the takeaway is this. I realized that the best way to heal myself and my family was to clear a path in my life. And while doing so, I discovered how clutter affects us, how prevalent it is, and how it connects to all aspects of life, and how freeing it is when we release what doesn't serve. In a way, I have clutter to thank for doing what I love to do now, coaching and podcasting, helping others experience productivity without the burnout. There is a way to achieve your goals while protecting your mental health and boosting your wellness overall. Compassionate productivity. And I'm here to teach that as long as you'll listen. And maybe even if you won't. Through my experiences, both as someone dealing with clutter and someone who's helped hundreds of clients deal with it, I know that it's one of the most beneficial habits we can incorporate into our lives. The approach I teach is whole life because clutter exists everywhere in our lives. And the framework we can use to address the clutter can be used on all types. I explain this in detail in my second podcast of the show, 194 episodes ago, where I share my simple system. And I've repeated these ideas in many more episodes, enough that I'm highlighting 10 episodes today for you to review. Just as we did in my 10-episode roundup on self-care, I'll summarize each episode so you can jump back and listen if you find something that interests you, or simply use the summaries to inspire action. I know when I'm short on time, I love a good summary. After setting the scene with the Simple System Framework in episode 2, I welcomed a variety of guests to explore different aspects of clutter. I shared a number of solo episodes to guide you in ways to declutter your whole life, from things to tasks to even people. And I did a strategy call coaching episode that features decluttering as well, and I've included that. For each of my guests mentioned, you can find out more about them in the show notes, where I've linked their websites as well as the original episodes. Let's review the 10 episodes to see how decluttering applies to your whole life. Episode 17, How Simplicity Sparks Joy. Tim Lucier, a certified KonMari consultant, joins me to share Marie Kondo's approach and highlight its elements of simplicity and gratitude. We talk about decluttering and habits, and though I'm admittedly not a huge fan of Kondo's spark joy tactics, don't get me wrong, I love the joy part, but I feel like it ignores too many aspects of our real lives. Tim does help me appreciate the good in it, and he gives great advice. Episode 18, Declutter Through Delegation features Liz August, owner of Simplify, and my biz bestie. Our conversation was a shift into entrepreneurial clutter and an important reminder that we don't have to do it all ourselves. We're encouraged to look for help, to ask ourselves not only how something can get done, but who can do it. Liz shares the top 3 reasons we avoid delegating and why we need to lean into it. You'll want to listen for tips on delegating in all spaces of your life. And if you like this episode, you'll want to catch her follow-up episodes that dig into why you may struggle hiring a VA and how we can effectively delegate when we do. As a delightful bonus, she was also my guest interviewer for my 100th episode, doing a fantastic job interviewing me so you can hear my answers to some of the same questions I ask my guests. Next up is Clutter Free Gift Giving. My guest, Katie Zurawski, gives us actionable steps, practical tips and advice to start planning gifts that won't add clutter to your life or your recipients. We discuss the gift-giving mindset, specific gift ideas, and we even tap into the 5 love languages as a way to filter your approach. The next episode is about decluttering toys with Danielle Bettman. She and I cover the physical side of decluttering as it relates to children's toys, but as you'll see, mental and emotional decluttering play an important role. She shares the 3 biggest reasons why we struggle with toys, and just as in the gift-giving episode, we can see the key is to understand how your family works and what both you and your space can handle. Episode 140, How to Declutter Your Mind in One Simple Step. So I realized when I was pulling together this list that it's a big jump from episode 27 to episode 140. Did we just ignore decluttering during this time? No, we talked about so many important topics like alignment and mindset, systems, task management, multi-passionate creative life, stress management, wellness, and so many aspects of mental health. Every single one connects to mental decluttering, and that inspired me to create this episode to share the process I use successfully with clients. In the episode, I share how physical clutter and mental clutter differ yet directly linked together. I review how mental decluttering is necessary, the different types of it and how to handle them, and my 1-step process to take right now to declutter your mind, which helps you declutter your life. In episode 145, 6 Reasons Why Decluttering is a Form of Self-Care, I knew that I had to do this because when we address specific topics, it tends to make them appear separate and distinct from others. But so many of them overlap and intersect in important and efficient ways. The mental decluttering episode I just mentioned is a great example of that. Another is decluttering and self-care. In this episode, I review what clutter is and explain why I believe it is truly an act of self-care. I add in tips for successful decluttering and remind you that what you're doing is making space for what matters, and that includes you. In episode 152, 3 areas of your life you need to spring clean. I talk about spring cleaning, and it's a ritual that dates back 1,000 years, and while originally focusing on refreshing our living space, is now a wonderful concept to bring into our entire lives. It's a way to reset all spaces in our lives. And in this episode, I review what clutter is and share the most important question to ask when assessing your clutter. I also share 3 Ps, those areas of your life you need to spring clean. They are purpose, processes, and people. Next up is episode 154, How Reverse Decluttering Can Quickly Reduce Stress. Decluttering is a favorite topic and something many people want to do, but when it comes to taking action, there are instances where the overwhelm is too great. You want to declutter, but you don't know where to start. I have an effective trick for that, and I share it in this episode. Reverse decluttering, which still involves aspects of traditional decluttering, is a simple technique that you can use to help you take action toward your clutter, build momentum, and move past the stress. I give you lots of examples in this episode and practical steps on how you can use this technique to tackle your physical, digital, and mental clutter, as well as ideas, information, and tasks. In episode 164, we have a strategy call. That's a coaching episode on decluttering and habit management for multi-passionate creatives. In this episode, I coach Katie Henson on small ways she can adjust her day to reach her goals, and gives her and you actionable steps to take when approaching clutter, bit by bit. She's a multi-passionate and, as a result, is a natural collector of multiple types of clutter. I assess her personality in this episode and her preferences and use that as a way to help her review her tasks and environment and then create initial habits that will reset her space physically and mentally, giving her room to do what she loves. The last episode I want to share with you today is episode 168, Boost Productivity and Well-Being with a Toxic People Detox. Sounds interesting, right? Remember episode 152 about those places to spring clean? I kept thinking about one of the 3 Ps, people, and how that is a fine example of easier said than done. I knew it was time to go deeper into this idea that we might declutter people in our lives and how especially difficult that would be for people pleasers. In this episode, I share how to recognize toxic influences and how to remove them. I discuss warning signs someone may be toxic, how this connects to codependency, and practical ways to distance yourself from the negative energy. I know this sounds harsh, but your wellness is paramount, and those who surround you in life directly affect it. I urge you to keep people around you who lift you up, encourage, and support you. That was 10 episodes that show you the magic of whole life decluttering. If you'd like to catch any or all of these episodes, you can find a dedicated playlist to decluttering episodes on the podcast page of the website. That's positivelyproductive.com/podcast. Each of those episodes provides additional support to encourage whole life decluttering. But if you're looking for more resources, I would welcome you to check out the resources and coaching pages of my website at positivelyproductive.com. That's positivelyproductive.com/resources or /coaching. The resources page has a link to a budget-friendly purchase of the vault that has workbooks I use with clients for mental decluttering, for core values, for finding your joy, for self-care. It has vision board and gratitude trainings in there, as well as bonus videos and checklists for things like stress and clutter. On the coaching page, you'll find ways to work with me and an option to book a free discovery call, which combines assessment and a sample of my coaching style. Everyone who has that call with me walks away breathing easier, and I'd love to do that for you. I'd love to learn more about the clutter that challenges you and to help you unlock the magic of releasing it. Thank you for joining me today. Your time is precious and limited, and I'm honored you chose to spend it with me. If you have feedback, questions, or want to schedule a chat, head to positivelyproductive.com/connect. And if you are looking for any of the resources referenced on the podcast, from books to products to training and more, go to positivelyproductive.com/resources.